welcome back to the League of Extraordinary Atheists for Humanism, where we attempt to apply logic and reason to religion and politics. And usually politics, because that's what's mostly going on right now. Excuse me. As you guys may have heard last week, there's a ton going on with the impeachment stuff. And wow, I am tiny. Look at that, guys. Sorry.
It's a mini Mac.
Right?
Yeah.
But have no fear. Christy is here and she's normal size.
I am normal size tonight. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm not
Hello,
a mini. Hello, guys. Happy Friday.
Yes, happy Friday to everyone. Thank you for spending it with us. We super duper appreciate it. So we're going to start out the night with a few campaign trail updates because there's a lot going on with a lot of the candidates. Some candidates are getting quieter and quieter, while some are trying to get louder and louder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm just going to try to go through and tell you guys a little bit of what's going on with each of the candidates, so you guys have a little bit of an idea of kind of what they're shooting for and how they're doing. Yeah, so let's start out with maybe the least obvious. Amy Klobuchar.
Yes, least obvious.
Quieter. Yeah. Unless, John Delaney's still in the race, which right now I think he is, but no one knows why, including him. He's wondering now. Hickenlooper gave up, right? He threw in the towel?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. It's been so long, and he was so insignificant before he did it.
Right.
That I wasn't sure. So, yeah, he's out. John Delaney's still in, sadly. Just taking up space on the debate stage. We have, again, Amy Klobuchar, really trying to set herself up as the moderate Democrat. Mm-hmm. Again, she's kind of one of those right-leaning Democrats who are mostly like a pro-choice Republican.
Yes, she's all fear, no foam.
Yeah, basically. Also, she doesn't like Trump, so she's got that going for her, I guess. Yeah. But that's a pretty low bar. Don't make that a standard, people. Right. Have higher standards.
Right. That was my fear, actually. One of my still very valid fears is that anybody is better than Trump. So there are people who are just that are just busy and can't be bothered. Anybody's better than Trump, so they'll follow the masses. Meh, meh.
Yeah. No, don't follow. So yeah, there's Amy Klobuchar. Again, this is going to be kind of short and sweet, and I'm not just trying to make fun of her. One of her main points is I am the moderate candidate. Yes. So that is really what she is going for. I don't have any direct quotes right now, but it's pretty easy to look up. So, but yeah, right now she's the moderate. So if you're looking for a moderate candidate, who's going to help us go back to maybe like the Bill Clinton years, maybe she'll sleep with her secretary. That could be exciting. You don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe she's the gal for you. We also have Andrew Yang. He's making waves right now. Actually, he's really growing on the campaign trail. There's a recent poll showing he is in, I believe, fourth or fifth place, but he's above Pete Buttigieg in some polls right now, which is really, really good for him. And I think that's really good for any progressive, because his idea of the $1,000 a month or a living stipend is a really progressive idea, and it's a really helpful idea for the masses. Meh. And I think that um, I think one thing that he said is because he was asked, like, how far do you think you're going to get in this? Like, do you think you're going to make it all the way, or are you going to win, or do you think you're going to lose, or whatever? I don't remember the exact framing of the question, but it was basically that. And he said, even if I drop out, my ideas are being talked about, and they're going to be like continue to be talked about, and that is a win. And he's right. Um, he's one of the mini Bernie Sanders this time around. He has a really strong idea that a lot of people like,
Right.
and people are starting to have to take it seriously. So that's really, really great. So I don't think he's going to win, um, but he is definitely making waves. He's
Right.
definitely gaining ground. He definitely has a few good ideas, and I think even if he doesn't make it through the primaries, his endorsement's going to matter a lot to a lot of people. So I think that's an important takeaway.
Yes, I agree. And any candidate or idea or group of people or organization or anything that moves that Overton window even an inch back to, I mean, we're not even to the middle yet. This country's so far authoritarian right now, and any conversation that helps move that Overton window further back to uh, a rational spot where it really, it's so cheesy to say the marketplace of ideas, but where it really could be the marketplace of ideas, not where some ideas are to be so feared that we can't even talk about them. And to talk about them means that you are that bad thing, that idea, condemnation, that what comes with it in indoctrinated minds. So therefore you can't even talk about it. And we have a long ways to go. I think that many of the candidates this year have contributed to that shift, even just a little bit back to an Overton window that is a little bit more logical, maybe. A girl can dream, okay? A girl can dream.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think he really is doing a good job of it. Um, so he really doesn't strike me as like super presidential yet, um, but that's okay because again, marketplace of ideas, and he's got some good ones.
Right.
So moving on from Yang, another one we have to look at is Julian Castro. Again, I haven't heard a lot from him since the last debate, but in the last debate and soon after, I mean, he threw some punches at Biden, uh, um, figuratively, but he threw some solid ones, really, questioning his not just his attention span, but his memory span, which is pretty fair since it's not good.
And
But
that's being very kind of you.
yeah, and also his brother, I think right after the second debate, um, went to the border to check out the living conditions um, of all the migrants who are being kept there in the detention centers.
Yep.
And I like that about him. I like that he's focused on issues like immigration, because he is. One of his main points is to um, take out the I can't remember exactly what it is, like the section of the law that makes um, crossing illegally a criminal offense and just makes it
Jaywalking?
like a civil.
Jaywalking?
Yeah, basically making it jaywalking. Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's how you help immigrants, and you can still put them,
Right.
you can still hold them accountable in some kind of way, but you don't have to treat non-violent crimes like violent crimes.
Right. As
So
violent criminals that should, have no autonomy and should have to ask to use the restroom because they're such a danger. They might have to be handcuffed to use the restroom. I think that it's absurd.
yeah, yeah. So there's that little bit on him. He was the head of housing and development, right, for Obama. Do I have that right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Caster. Yeah.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, he did that, and it sounds like he may have learned from some of his mistakes, and he definitely seems to want to help um, in that section. Like that's one of his main issues is just housing,
Yes.
which is good because I think you should focus on something you have experience in. Strange concept for politics, but I think that's wonderful, and I think he would be a really strong person in the Bernie Sanders
Cabinet.
cabinet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do.
So yeah, I think that would be awesome.
I do too.
Uh, that's
Him
my
and
take
his
on it.
brother, both Julian and his brother are just strong citizens that decided to, put their money where their mouth is. And well, if nobody's gonna run, then we will. And that's what happened.
Yeah.
They both are from what I can see and have seen and read about them and seen about them, as they're pretty decent people. I mean, I couldn't find anything that made me go, oh man, there's gonna be trouble. I I think we're just not used to candidates that refuse to take corporate money. We're not
Yeah.
used to someone who is an actual a, a we the people person, and so we don't know how to talk about them yet. We're still kind of like they're nice and they did the right thing and then they voted right, and I guess there's nothing to see here. Next candidate, which is wonderful. We need
Yeah.
to praise that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I agree. Um, so, excuse me. Um, my list here. I'm trying to remember to get everybody in just a little bit. Oh, no, I'll save that one for later. We have Beto O'Rourke.
Yeah. Uh,
Well, good old Beto. He's trying to outflank everyone on like from the left and going for a little more strict gun reform. And his idea is to have a mandatory buyback for all the AKs
mhm.
or AK-47s maybe specifically. And he got a lot of praise from the audience when he said that during the last debate. And I think a lot of people will agree with it. I'm not necessarily sure where I am on it. I have mixed feelings about it because it's um, because as I've said multiple times, I don't like guns like at all, but also I don't like authoritarianism at all.
Right.
So, but there has to, we have to take action, and I think at a baseline, we definitely need to have some kind of common sense gun reform, and that needs to include licensing and background checks, like at a minimum. That's common sense. Where we go from there, I don't really have a strong opinion quite yet. I don't think. But I'm glad that he's putting his foot down and saying something solid that he will might not back down on. That
Well,
would
you
be
gotta
nice.
understand what had just happened in his,
In his hometown.
backyard with his constituents, with his family, with people, with the people he sees at the grocery store. His community had just been wrecked. So yeah, we say this all the time when it comes to politicians. It for many of them, and not just politicians, for humans, it's human nature. Until many humans have something specifically happen in their life, their child comes out gay, their child's school gets shot up. Until something happens to them, they have they don't have that moment going, oh wow, yeah, I wouldn't want that happening to me. I should help not have it happen to anyone. So, and I'm not saying that's what happened to him at all. I think that being responsible for an entire area of people who voted you and you work for, and then something like that happens, it has to weigh a ton on your shoulders. And he made that decision for I think the right reasons. I do think, for me, I have strong feelings, and I know where I stand on guns. I'm sure people have seen pictures of me on Facebook shooting assault rifles. There's a place for them. I think that I am a licensed cosmetologist. I have to renew my license. I have to not just pay the state of Florida to renew my license. I get a workbook that I have to read, because at the end there are questions and I have to answer them and then get graded before I can renew my cosmetology license. And I there's nothing wrong in my heart and my mind for having rules and regulations like that for guns. And then we have rules that are really strict for automatic rifles. There are specific licenses in our nation for men and women who want to be able to have that type of a weapon, and it's strict and it costs a lot of money, and there's places where you go to shoot them. There's nothing wrong with that. I have no problem with that, but I don't think a mandatory buyback in this country. I think there are too many people who are, if you tell them not to, is why they are going to do it. If you say don't touch that, they're going to touch that. So I think it being a voluntary would be huge, especially for if we work out the money, that the buyback, you're getting money for it. And a lot of people, I think that a lot of people would do a voluntary, especially in areas that have experienced a mass shooting. I think that it would be a success. I don't think that we would get all of them, and I'm not even on that kind of a la la land. I think that it would be a step. Doing nothing means nothing happens. Doing something and it doesn't work means that we just stop doing that and we try something else. But we keep trying something. We don't just not do anything because it's too hard.
Right, exactly. And he's doing something that, frankly, Obama didn't really do super duper well. He's starting further on the left, right? So if he wants to settle, maybe he can settle still on the left. Maybe he could just settle for those background checks, right?
Yes,
and
universal, international, universal. I think there are other nations who have this for their nation and connect with other nations because they take that very seriously. So if the infrastructure is already there and we just plug into it, I think that if you care about the safety of the citizens of this country, that would be, I don't want somebody who has threatened people with a weapon before and been to prison for assault and battery to be able to get a gun. I just don't. So
no, and Neither do I. But we can go on a while on this topic.
Yeah. Next
And
candidate.
we can on each one. Yeah. Well, I do want to say real quick though, to mind the chat. Vibrantly Brantley, who is a patron of ours. Thank you very, very, very much. He said gun insurance should be mandatory. Great Skeptic.
Yes.
If your gun gets stolen and God forbid someone gets killed, their family should at least get compensated.
Yes.
And I think that mostly falls on the person who, pulled the trigger, but absolutely, yes, I also agree with that. You should also have to pay some compensation if your gun gets stolen, at least like if it's not secured. And I mean, it would probably get stolen if it's not secured, right? So if you're a responsible gun owner, you should keep that from happening.
Yes.
So yeah, I think that's a really good idea, and that's something I haven't really thought of. So I'm really happy that you brought it up in the chat. So thank you for that. I'm going to consider that.
I love that idea, because you can't operate a huge crane or a boom or anything on a construction site, including your regular Honda and your Nissan. You can't drive them without having insurance. I think that, that's definitely something that should be part of the conversation.
Yeah, it is. It is. Again, thank you very, very much for bringing that up, because I think that's a wonderful idea and I hadn't thought of it yet. So, all right, next one up, Kamala Harris. She makes me... Now, I don't want to say this. She makes me cringe a little bit.
Yeah.
Just because of her attitude. It's just her attitude. She sounds kind of like a cartoon character to me. Like she's a character.
Yeah. Sounds like a prosecutor from Law and Order. Dun, dun.
Yeah. She sounds like that. Also, like just this character a little bit of this woman of color who wants or needs to, I don't know, she says it was some kind of an entitlement, and in a way that she's playing up her identity just a little bit, and that drives me a little bit nuts, because I think everyone here knows that I'm super duper cool with like a woman and a woman of color president. I would love that. I volunteer for Tulsi's campaign. She's a woman of color, and I think she's awesome. I do have a few issues with her, which we'll bring up here in a few minutes, because Christy does as well. But geez, not Kamala. I'm not a bit, and I wanted to be when I saw her like a year ago.
Yeah.
In a Congress, just kind of tearing shit up and making sense. I was like, hey, that bitch there should be president.
Yeah.
I like her.
I want to see her in Trump debate, just mano a mano, because she will wipe the floor with him. And can I just throw out real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
The words progressive, I identify with progressive. I like the word progressive. I like progress. And then the word prosecutor. It's a whole different word. We need them. They prosecute for the state, whatever state you may live in. We also have federal prosecutors, but put them together. Progressive prosecutor. It's a paradox. It's an oxymoron.
Yeah, like, a little bit, isn't it?
It's really hard for me to wrap my mind, and I'm not saying there aren't any. I'm sure there are thousands of prosecutors in our nation who feel themselves, that know themselves, and think of themselves as progressives.
But absolutely, because she's not one of them, right?
No,
she's not one of them.
If you want to read, Harvard Law Review put out, it's called The Paradox of Progressive Prosecution. It's a good read. There's a lot to read on that, and pretty much all of it comes to the same outcome you and I do. Like, those two are not, they're not, they, progressive prosecutor is just really hard to wrap my mind around. And it's not something that I do want it. It's not something I'm saying I don't want. I want that. There needs to be a way forward to have progressive as that being the norm, the normal.
Yeah.
To hear of a an ultra conservative or authoritarian prosecutor is, to me, just a regular Florida state prosecutor, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is. And honestly, and without me reading what you've read, I can think of a number of reasons why we would need progressive like prosecutors, right? Because we as progressives see certain kinds of people who maybe need to be prosecuted, right? So we see people who cheat the system or ride the system, as broken as it is, knowingly, just more or less stealing money and goods from people down below. And we need people who are going to prosecute if we are able to change laws and people don't want to comply and break laws. So
yeah, and you can't, as far as Kamala Harris goes, to prosecute people for marijuana, and then, I mean, for myself, and I can only speak for myself, I couldn't have known that 5.5 months ago, while I was at a party, I smoked a joint with my friends. We had a great night. We hung out. We watched movies. And then the next Monday, I went back to work as a prosecutor. And one after another, all day long, there are, American citizens coming before me, and I'm prosecuting them for marijuana charges. If you are a progressive, at what point do you say, I need to be involved in helping change these laws because I can't? And she didn't, not only did she not do that, she didn't try to get more lenient outcomes for people. She fought for the hardest outcomes on
the
many
harder
of them.
ones, yeah.
And for marijuana charges. So that's not progressive. And I'm not saying being a pothead makes you progressive, or it doesn't. Being informed and knowing that smoking a joint and drinking a few drinks, if you're informed, you understand that those are adult choices that you need to be an adult for, and neither of them hurt anybody when done in moderation. And you're responsible, and no one should go to jail and lose their career. None of that. And she was personally responsible for thousands of lives, having records for something that she did.
Yeah, absolutely. And even if we give Kamala the benefit of the doubt on her record and say, you know what, she's grown since then. She had to have grown since then. Well, she hasn't owned up to her record, saying that it was wrong then. And again, even if she has like changed, you still have to be honest and own up to your mistakes, and she hasn't done that.
Right.
But that being said, I don't think she's changed. So.
And I really dislike, and I hear it a lot in politics, especially a couple years ago. It was something that you could say about another politician that was negative. Oh, they're a flip-flopper. To me, if you believed one thing about something and you've evolved on it, you've gotten more information, your opinion on it, because of new information and facts and learning to understand them better, helped your opinion change, and now you feel this way about it than you did before, I think that's a good thing. I don't think we should call people flip-floppers because they used to think the death penalty was, yes, we need it in every single state. And now because you've informed yourself, you're like, maybe that's not the best thing that we should do as humanists. That's not a flip-flopper to me. I used to believe that there was, an invisible man in the sky that I could talk to and that looked out for me and helped me find stuff if it was lost, and now I don't. So I don't think that I flip-flopped on it. I think that I just evolved on it.
Yeah. And I mean, just think, Christy, if you didn't lose your keys so many times, there wouldn't be starving children in Africa. You would have had more time.
Yes, it's all privileged white people's fault in America.
Yeah.
Betty Bowers, she says it perfectly. America's perfect Christian. I love her.
She's wonderful.
She is hilarious. Yes.
But yeah, so Kamala Harris, she doesn't impress us with her record. The other thing is she's calling currently for Donald Trump's Twitter to be banned.
Yes.
Get him kicked off Twitter. And I've heard enough to mostly convince me that, he shouldn't be, because again, we would rather Twitter and Facebook become forms where we can all
democratize the enterprise.
That's right.
Right.
So I disagree with her there. And again, whenever you lean on authoritarianism at all, I really try to shy away from it as much as I possibly can, because right wing just uses it as fodder. And God, I hate that. So I don't ever want to be like, yeah, I get you there. But I have to do that a lot right now with the impeachment proceedings, because because Biden likes to fuck up,
Yeah.
And that's because I don't like to stand up for Biden, but also it sucks to agree with someone on the opposite side, but I don't know. I almost feel better when I do, because when you reach that common ground, it makes the whole conversation move a lot smoother. And more recently, I've been trying to find that common ground, be like, nope, I agree. Nope, you don't have to say anything else. I absolutely agree with you. You're completely right. The only thing I say is just do exactly what Trump said and drain the swamp. Just flush him at the
bottom. But not drain it into the White House.
Right, he found his cabinet at the
bottom. Got it wrong. Right? Yeah, he's supposed to get it out.
Yeah. Oh, what's down here? You're all wonderful.
Okay. Did you guys watch, off topic, Saturday Night Live this past week?
I did not, but I saw a picture.
So funny. So funny. They're pretending the mock debate, and a few of them, they're like, yeah, but you don't really matter, so you can go ahead and go home. Because they're just up there. And yeah, it was funny. It just reminded me of that real quick.
That's awesome. So, okay. I'm done with Kamala Harris.
Yes.
I'd rather us all be done with Kamala Harris, but she's hanging on there. She's hanging on. So, and I think she will, but she has dropped in the polls since Tulsi pushed her off a cliff. So her poll numbers went down to Pete Buttigieg jumped past her, and then Andrew Yang jumped past him. But let's back it up one from what I just mentioned. And Buttigieg, he is not doing horrible right now. I think he's going to be the replacement Democrat for Biden when he completely drops. I think they're the one he's really that's really going to be propped up the most. I think he's going to be their last ditch hope for an establishment Democrat to take the lead. But I don't know. He's one that I think could do the most good as an establishment Democrat, because I feel like he has a lot of good ideas. He seems like he has a little bit more respect for some of the progressives, but still nowhere like
Yeah.
he's not the gold standard by any means, but he talks kind of smooth. He's
Yeah.
got that he's got that electability or whatever they like to fucking talk about. But
He
he's
is he's all about Jesus though.
he is all about the Jesus.
Yeah.
Uh, but he's all about gay Jesus, so that makes him a little better, right?
That is a little better.
A little better.
It's a
Yeah,
little
he's
better.
he's a little bit of a mixed bag. Um,
I mean, he
I
did
don't.
say that in a time like this, right after what was it? I'm pretty sure it was right after the shooting. In a time like this, Americans don't care about policy; they care about feelings. And I'm thinking, ah,
Some do.
actually, your feelings are what we are feeling. What we care about are your actions that can be written down in a policy.
Right. As as much as I think he's right there, he's also being very insulting.
Right.
Um, it's like
Well, what it was is he couldn't win the argument. Someone else was talking about policy and he didn't have one. So he was,
right.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah. And that's how he responded. And again, I do think it is um kind of a shot to the groin of any American to think that they go based off feelings. And again, I think there's honestly some truth there, but um, most people like to think about who they're voting for and why. So
right.
I feel like his words really undercut that. Um, Also, he's got things going on in his district. I really can't go into detail there.
Do he?
What?
Do he? Yes,
Do
he
he?
do.
Do he
Yes,
do?
he do.
do.
Yeah, he needs to handle his own situation. Yeah.
He really does. He really does. Speaking of people who need to handle their own situations, Bill de Blasio has dropped out. I don't know. I'm not sure if we mentioned that on the show. You guys probably all know that because if you're watching the show, you probably watch some politics. You keep up on the news.
Un
But if you
poquito.
didn't know, he is out.
Yes.
What?
I said un poquito, which is Spanish
Yeah,
for little.
little.
A little bit.
So, um, and as much as he needs to deal with his own shit, man, I loved him on the debate stage.
Yeah.
He was like an aggressive bear. Just,
Yeah.
I mean, aggressive bear.
Yeah, and he's like 11 feet 2 inches tall too.
Yeah,
He's huge.
very intimidating.
Yes.
Like if he had a better rap as mayor, like I'd like love to see him. I don't know, on the campaign trail with Bernie or just like as
Face to
VP.
face with Trump, where
Yeah,
Trump has to like look up at him.
yeah, it's great. It'd be great. He's definitely got some character, and I
Yeah.
really like that about him. But also, I mean, he has to deal with the shit, and
Yep.
if you can't deal with your shit and um, New York City, that doesn't say great things about you, serving the entire country. So that's that. That's Bill de Blasio, which again is out. Um, again, making sure I don't want to miss anybody.
Corey.
Oh yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, there is
The Corey eyes.
I speak Spanish worse.
8th grade Spanish.
Yeah, worse.
Same with Beto though. Beto's like 8th grade Spanish as well.
Yeah, I don't know where he's at. I don't know what he's doing. He's one of those ones that I was referring to as he's being quiet right now. which is fine. We really don't need him in the
No, and
race right now.
he's only been known to move to the left or to move to the right side of a topic when there's no other choice for him, because every one of his constituents is yelling at him that that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm not calling that a flip-flopper because he hasn't flip-flopped back. He has, when he's learned, and even if it's because he's been forced to make the right decision, he has stayed making that right decision. So kudos for that, because to me he is just a politician, a really good one. He is very good at being a politician. He can, finagle his way out of a lot, which is, I wish, not something that politicians were known for. I wish that we didn't look at them or think of them as used car salesmen. And that's he just reminds me of one that has ethics. And
Yeah.
forced ethics because he was made to have them. And that, to me, next.
Yeah.
And then this too. I can't.
Yeah, and that.
I can't do that. I don't know what's wrong with him. I'm like, put him back in his head.
Yeah. I really liked him after the first debate. After thinking months that I didn't like him at all, I'm just like, hey, I think he's in my top 5.
Yeah. No, he has a lot to offer, and he's not going anywhere. We're gonna see him for a long time coming. So.
Yeah. So my view on him is, hey, come back next time, champ.
Yeah. Keep learning and evolving.
Yeah. Please. Like, I don't hate you, so keep it like that, and we'll talk later. We also have, speaking of people who always do the right thing, Joe Biden. Did I say the right thing? I'm sorry. Look, Joe Biden is still for Joe Biden.
Yep.
And he is still good friends with Corn Pop. I mean, he used to be, but he wasn't at first. And they came to good times. I don't know, and neither does he. That's the point. So Joe Biden rants worse than I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe
he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing most of the time.
No, and just this last, the reason. Okay, you guys have all noticed, if you pay attention to politics, that he was in your face at everything, and all of a sudden he's like, really not. He's not there. He can't stop making gaffes. And this last time he was asked what you would do about, I can't even remember the exact question, so I'm just paraphrasing, about the inequality, about the not every child having the same opportunities. We're not asking for the same outcomes. We're asking for the same opportunities somewhere, and there was the question. And and I don't call this racism because but it is. It's a type of racism that isn't malicious. It's kind of, I'm not saying I accept it. I'm saying that I'm glad that I can recognize it now. And it's what he said was, his answer was, we have to go back to the parents, that the parents need to spend more time with their kids. We're talking about impoverished children of color in inner cities. And his first fucking thought was, we need to teach the parents to parent better. And that, God, 10 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, I would have saw it as, ooh, that might be out of touch, but I wouldn't have seen it as what it really is. Well, you wouldn't answer that the same if you were talking about, a different area of America. You just wouldn't say it like that. You would say, we need more after school programs, that we need educators to have a limit on children, the amount of children. in the classroom, that we need to pay teachers more, that we need social services in school, we need counselors in school. You wouldn't go and tell the American people that your answer to how to serve impoverished children in inner cities is to have their parents play more records and not the TV. Oh, I just, no, dude, no. No, no, no. 1992 called and they said, you need to go home.
Yeah. Yeah. And he should take that bus. He should take that bus. Jesus.
Yeah, I was very while watching that, it dawned on me how much I have really learned this year. Just that on how I hope I never ever sound like that. And if I do, and I ever made anyone, feel like I was coming from a place of just, I don't see you. I know it's better for you because I'm here and you're there. Ugh, and I'm so sorry. And I want to learn to never do that. I want to be able to recognize it and to let people know that have those biases, that is a racist thing, but that doesn't mean that you are. And those are the things that we as people and humans can work with. We can point them out and say that thing, that way of thinking, let's show you how it hurts this, it's nuanced and hard and it's all in See what I did there?
I did. I was gonna try to leave it this time, but I'm glad you did. But yeah. Yeah, Joe really, I think Joe Biden should drop out of the race.
Oh, Uncle Joe.
Yeah, Uncle Joe. I think Jim said this last week when he was with us, that his best time is when we had those videos of him and Obama being best friends. Like
okay,
that
you have to watch Saturday Night Live, because whenever he got stuck with a question, he'd say, Obama?
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. That's pretty much what it is. Whenever he's on the debate stage, Obama. Well, Obama did that, but not me. Obama. Yeah, so that's. I mean, again, most of you watching this really know what's going on with this stuff right now, but I want to give everyone a little rundown. So I'm gonna move on. Is my point.
Next.
Yeah.
No, Uncle Joe. No.
Listening to records is not going to fix everything. The radio. I mean, the TV. I mean, the record player.
The record player.
I'm just like, fuck. Did he just say that? I'm so glad I watched the news. I watched 16 hours with nothing exciting, and then this happened. Okay. After Uncle Joe, we have. We'll go to Tulsi. We'll go to Tulsi Gabbard. There's a couple updates for her. But if you don't know who Tulsi Gabbard is for some oddball reason and you're watching the show, she's the congresswoman from Hawaii, who I think is mostly wonderful. She's the anti-war candidate. That is her platform. It's wonderful that you know that when you listen to her, you know why she's there. She is the anti-war candidate, and she's a populist. She actually wants to listen to the people, and she wants to have other people hear the people. She wants your voice heard. She wants to fix our election system. I would say that's probably her number 2 issue easily. I think she's for ranked choice voting, isn't she? Yeah. Yes. I'm getting a thumbs up. She's for ranked choice voting, and she is for uh, uh, paper ballot backup, which I think is wonderful. She's coming with solutions that we're not hearing a lot of, and I think and they're simple solutions. They're simple solutions. So you don't need a 1,500-page document to get her ideas across. They're very simple, and they're really hard to argue against, and I think that's great. Um, there are issues with um, she okay, so the first one and the easiest one to explain is it looks like she has backed off of Medicare for all. And I got that hint a while back, but I was trying to give her the benefit of the doubt because I trust Tulsi. And again, I am registered as a volunteer for her campaign, and I really want to help with it. But man, that sucks. um, I didn't get a cent because my phone was messing up on me, but like I made a donation, and then with the donation I could leave a message, and I was just like, hey, um, I want Tulsi to know that want her to get back on track with Medicare for all, and um, shit, I can't remember the other thing, but I like gave her two criticisms, and I'm just like, hey, but I still love your campaign because I do, because I love the topics that she focuses on.
Yes.
Because we need that voice. Even with the things that I dislike about her right now, I would still 100% vote for her if she won the nomination, which I don't think she's going to right now. But I still would like that, and I still want her to listen because I feel like she is a politician who does listen. She
Right.
really does listen to criticisms, and she wants people's voices heard, and she wants to listen to people. She wants to be a public servant, and that's wonderful. That's what you should have in a politician. I'm still 100% on board with Bernie Tulsi, and then Tulsi AOC for the next 8 years. So that's that for me. There's more criticism we have of her. I think Christy could say it better than me if
Yes.
you're prepared to say any of it.
Yes. Okay.
Go for it.
Unfortunately, there is an apartheid genocide going on in Kashmir. It's too big to get into tonight. Maybe I can, if that's something that you guys would like me to do, to investigate Kashmir and let you guys know everything I can find about it, I would definitely do that. I've been paying attention. It's not the night to go into that. However, Modi is
Real quick before you dive into it, I'm sorry. I've been keeping up with it a little bit as well, so maybe we can plan on that next week.
Yeah,
Because it's super duper important, and I think we should cover it.
It's huge. Yes, Kashmiris are getting mail and opening it up, and it is documents saying that they have so and so many days to leave the nation because they're no longer citizens, and their entire villages are getting burnt. Now, that's Kashmir. This is happening to Kashmiris via a nationalist named Modi, who's a Hindu nationalist. He believes in the caste system, and he also thinks that, and this is, I can go into it on another night, way deeper. I'm just trying to sum it up. Nationalism in the worst type of nationalism, where it's for your type of people only. What the creed they believe in is that India is for Hindus only, and everyone else is subpar, and Hindu should be the only religion. And there are a couple groups that have subgrouped off of Modi's main political group, and they're, if they were here, they would be considered by our intelligence hate groups. They would be on a watch list. They are Hindu nationalists, and they are very bad people with very bad ideas. And Tulsi's family is involved with them, unfortunately. And I can't say that she, in her mind, laying in bed at night, is like, yeah, get those Kashmiris out of there. I want Hinduism everywhere. I can't say that she's thinking that. I wouldn't think that she's thinking that. But,
Right.
but if you know that your religion is persecuting an entire area of people and killing them and burning their villages and disappearing them and genociding them and kicking them off their land, and you not only do you not do anything, except for she has come out and said a few things about, how it's wrong and the Kashmiris need your help, but it's all word service, because just this past week when Modi was here, she had nothing but praise for him. Hashtag Modi, I'm so glad you're here. Her tweets were wonderful to him, knowing that that's going on. So because of learning how to, use that skepticism, I turned it around. If Bernie, being a Jew that he is, supported Netanyahu and what he's doing in Israel, would I be okay with that? The answer is absolutely not.
No, absolutely not. No.
So I'm not okay with this. And I have to say that I am so anti-war and anti-murdering people because of an ideology, a religion, a color of their skin. I fucking hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it more than anything else. I think it is so horrible. And if I'm not saying she's supporting it, but she's not doing anything that I know of to stop it. And if she's on the side, or even if she's not on the side, if she is supporting the leaders who are doing it, I not only have a problem with that, but I reject that. I reject it wholeheartedly. And so that threw me off this past couple weeks. I can't learn enough. I really wish that I could call her and say, look, I'm a future voter of yours, or I could be. Explain this to me. And you better explain it to me that makes me feel like what you have done is justified. Because as of right now, it would be the equivalent of Bernie Sanders saying he is okay with Netanyahu doing whatever he wants to the Gaza Strip, kicking them all out, giving them no nation. International law says that no nation can make a human nationless. No nation could take a human and make them nationless, like to have nowhere to go. And that's what he's doing. So
Yes. And I really want to do a deep dive into this with you. I think we'll probably have to make that a major topic next week, and we'll just both focus on it because there's a lot. And talking,
it broke my heart. It made me think maybe it's Bernie Warren, because I can't. To me, the reason why I loved her, because she was anti-war anywhere. And if she's not anti-war anywhere, she's only anti-war when it's the way that I see all the information I'm getting about her is that she is anti-war unless it is against Muslims. And I don't want to say that. I don't want to feel that. I don't want to think that, because that would be bigoted. And Right.
No, and there's two things that I can say on that. There's one here I want to say first, because I saw in our chat, Smitty said, I hear Tulsi talking way more about the suffering and death of our soldiers than that of their victims. I don't think she's as humanist as we'd like. I think she's as humanist as we'd like. I think she's for her family soldiers. And she is, absolutely. I don't think it necessarily stops there, but she's not quite showing us a whole lot more than that, right? she's definitely leaving blind spots, and we could take that either way. We could take it either way, but right now, we have to lean on the worst side for her. So,
Yeah, I'm
until she shows
skeptical.
us
I'm
otherwise.
I'm skeptical, and her
Yeah,
actions
absolutely.
are proving my skepticism is warranted.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
absolutely.
and like Mac and I say, if we're for somebody and we love them and we give you all the reasons, and then that person happens to do something, or their actions, go against what we as humanists believe in, then we have to take in that new information. We have to change our opinion. And as of right now, I don't have a positive opinion of her actions when it comes to Kashmir, Modi, and Hindu nationalism. I have a very bad taste in my mouth.
No, I understand that. The other thing I wanted to point out is when I watched her video welcoming Modi to the United States, it gave me kind of a bad feeling, but I was also like, she's always kind of like in the fray a little bit. She's always like kind of taking the opposite side, and I'm glad she's doing what she's
Right.
doing because it's Tulsi. So like I liked it. I tried to defend it in my head a little bit, but also that's some pretty serious cognitive dissonance,
Yes.
right? And I think it's important to have that still. I think I've been thinking more and more recently because there's so many political arguments out there. It's good when you have cognitive dissonance, when you have to double think, right?
Yeah.
Because it makes you think if you have to double think. So just pay attention for that throughout the whole campaign. When you're hearing something from someone you like that you don't think you like, just put it in your back pocket and don't forget it. Always, because I mean, Bernie Sanders isn't perfect either, right?
Yeah,
So
nobody is. There's no such thing. Yeah.
no one is. So try to be fair. Try to point out what you do like, but don't forget what you don't like
Right.
about any said candidate. Um, Moving on.
Yes.
Okay. Elizabeth Warren. Of course, I'm last. Oh, actually, before Elizabeth Warren, I do want to get two out of the way. Tom Steyer. I don't know.
Wait, who was that again?
Yeah, I didn't see his name. I just remember it, and it's worth bringing up because he is a presidential candidate. But that's all you get, bro.
He can put on his, paperwork, ran for president. He's golden. Let him go.
Yeah, that's pretty much what he wanted.
Yeah.
He had a big old email list, and that was for what again? What did he have that email list for? Something.
The climate.
And then he used it to launch his campaign. So he had already millions of people. Like it was like a little PR stunt that he pulled to like. Yeah, and it's smart, but also like, come on, get the fuck out of here, dude. The other person I want to mention real quick is Marianne Williamson, because as far as I know, she is still in the race. She did not make it to the next debate, so she will not be on the debate stage on what is it, the 17th, October 17th.
I think so.
And it's here in Columbus, Ohio. I want to go so freaking bad.
I know.
I don't know how to go. I don't think I can, but I want to. But anyways, yeah. So she's still in the race, and she's still a little wackadoo, and she's pretty solidly for a public option. It sounds like, and I don't know. I think all of these candidates who are backing off Medicare for all, because Tulsi was the last one. She was the last one who hadn't like flip flopped.
See, that is a flip flop. That is a flip flop. That's when everybody wants this, I'm for that. And then you have a meeting with your, the business professionals in the state you represent and the multinational corporations in the state you represent. And then you say, I mean, I'm still for that for like most of you, but I think that it should be an option so that if you want it, you have to sign up for it. They're just going to keep chipping away at it, and then it won't be Medicare for all. So that, to me, that there's you have to be that's not an option.
If that's in your top two,
yeah,
you can only vote for Bernie.
Yep.
That's all there is to it. You can only vote for Bernie. Yep. So yeah, I think in my head right now, the only other way you're going to get Medicare for all is if Bernie's like VP, but not for Warren. I don't think it would pass as well for Warren. But maybe Yang or Tulsi, I still think would bump the system enough to help that pass. I feel like Warren wouldn't. But yeah, but Marianne Williamson, she just hasn't understood it, I think. And the more I think about it, the more I think most of these candidates don't quite understand it. And they don't watch enough Kyle Kalinske to understand that the reason we need to just go 100% on Medicare for all is because if you don't, it has a much higher chance of failing because the private insurance sector, now that I can't talk, would just try to take all the healthy people, get all the money, and overburden the Medicare system.
Yep. As Medicare Advantage has done to Medicare. Medicare Advantage is a private for profit, and they get Medicare tax dollars that are specifically collected for Medicare. They have been able to a lot of very wealthy think tanks have gotten involved to make this happen over the years, and it was a private option instead of a public option, and it has chipped away at Medicare, and in red states it has damaged Medicare. It has made it so that the doctors are I can't, I'm sorry, I can't afford it to only accept Medicare when there's Medicare Advantage. That was done on purpose by insurance companies. Medicare Advantage is owned by insurance companies. That's why Medicare is so important. If you know anybody who is on Medicare, tell them to do not fall for the Medicare Advantage. And my thought, and I have this thought often, and maybe it's because I'm naive and as Trump says, nobody knew how complicated insurance was. So they want to keep everything the same, but not a few. But to give you a public option, which would be Medicare for all. So you, the citizen, would have to physically go online and, apply for it and then have it. However, so if that's such a great idea in your mind, let's do it the opposite way. Everybody is already enrolled in Medicare for all, the public option. If you, however, don't want it, then you can physically go online and unenroll and get yourself some private. I bet you that way would work way better than the other way, because unfortunately, Americans are very busy and they'd say, wait, I'm just enrolled, I have it. Well, let me make a doctor's appointment. So I think that way would be better. You're born, you have Medicare. That's the way that it works. That's the way that it should work. That's the way that it works in all other industrialized nations. You're born and you have it. But I think we should go further. I think we should have dental. I think we should have mental. I think we should have vision. All of it is healthcare. The well-being of a human isn't just physical, there's mental, there's emotional. I think all of it, the well-being should be the most important, and education, of course.
Yeah.
All right, next.
Sorry, I'm drawing a blank. I was looking something up. Were you just talking about Warren? I'm so sorry.
I said they as in the public option. So yeah, Marianne said she's for the public option.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that it should just be everybody has it. And then if you want a public option your way out, go for it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So then I will move on to Elizabeth Warren.
Okay.
Okay. She is awesome. She's wonderful. She has a lot of really good ideas, and she has a plan for those ideas. Right? We say that a lot. She has a plan for that. So
it's a good tagline. I like it.
It is. It is a good tagline. It absolutely is. So I don't follow Elizabeth Warren as much as the next person probably does, honestly. I know there are a lot of differences between her and Bernie Sanders, because that is something I like to brush up on, is to know their differences. I know her weaknesses more than I know, I don't know, I guess.
Foreign policy?
Yeah, foreign policy, absolutely. Voting for the Trump budget, where he got more. Voting for Ben Carson for the head of housing and urban development.
Yeah.
The first time, but not the second time, because she got pressured.
Yeah.
And look, she's done a lot of good things. She really has. And she really does want to help get money out of politics. And she really wants to crack down on Wall Street. She really wants to pass, excuse me, legislation that would give people free college and cut student debt. And those are all great ideas. And Bernie Sanders begged her to run in 2016. So he didn't have to, because they were so close on policy, like their ideas aligned so much that he wanted her to run. Those are all positives. That she didn't run, and that she endorsed Hillary, and that she voted for Ben Carson to be the head of HUD, and all this other stuff we just mentioned. Those are a few of the negatives that are very important. And we have to say that because we know that, but also we also know and have to say that she's a way better choice than 85% of the other candidates. She's a good choice. I would vote for her if she won the primary.
Yes, and many corporations, many Wall Street executives, many big bank back rooms have all came out within the last month and said to the DNC, if she is your nomination, we won't give you $1 of funding. They're scared of her.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's good.
Right.
That's a good thing for us.
They should be. Yes.
They should be. They should be. She really stood up for people during the 2008 crash. She was really there for a lot of people. She used to be a Republican, and she switched to a Democrat. She didn't just flip flop. She
learned
her views, and she learned. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. So she is a really strong candidate. She pushes back. Christy and I have talked before about we're not quite sure if she could stand up to Trump. I'm not sure if you still feel that way.
I don't know. I mean, I've heard Mr. Atheist Jimmy has, he swears that her debating skills are top of the line, and I'm sure they are with a lot of people, but Trump's not a normal person. He's just
No.
not. He's going to say horrendous things that she is not going to get on his level to argue back, because why would you? I mean, I wouldn't. But to a lot of his base, that's going to be like, boom in your face, you know, and I'm scared for that, because she's a classy lady. She's, as far as, you know, you don't call people names, you don't make fun of their race, ethnicity, their religion. You just don't. And those are not rules that Trump knows about. I don't think he's ever even heard that that's a thing.
Right. No. And one thing that really worried me as soon as she got in the race was the Pocahontas thing. I'm just like, oh man. Because even I didn't think it was a fair, good nickname to throw on her. That's, you know, it's an awful thing, especially who he did it in front of. But that's what I thought. I'm like, Pocahontas is running. And I'm not the only one who's going to think that and not really take her seriously. And I do take her seriously, right? But I'm trying to say the general public, and that's who we need to worry about.
And Trump, if he's not anything, if he's one thing, it's a professional bully. And a professional bully knows how to even just use one word that you can call somebody that would make everyone around that person use it as a derogatory term as well, because he's a professional bully. He's a professional troll. Like, he knows how to troll people, even if he's trolling himself at the same time. So I don't know how someone like Warren, who does, you know, this is serious. These are people's lives. She takes this very seriously. And Trump takes himself very seriously. It's different. So I don't know. I can't say that I don't think that she would fare well in a debate against him. I would be curious to know, but at the same time, I mean, we know his rhetoric. We know he's a bully. And so how does someone who really wants to argue the ideas, wants to argue the topics, go against someone who's going to call you names? Like, I don't know. That's where we're at, America.
Yeah. That's where we is. That's where we is. So there's our second to last, as far as I know. If I missed anyone, they're not important, I'm sure. Then we have Bernie Sanders.
Yay!
Good old America's dad.
Yes.
So if you don't know, I should immediately tell you that he had some complications with his health on Tuesday. He was having chest pains, so they went to the hospital to see what was up and get things taken care of. And it turns out it was a clogged artery, and he got 2 stents put in, and he got it taken care of. And he's making a speedy recovery, it looks like. I just watched before we went live. Him and his wife Jane went on and shared a message, just thanks for everyone's support, and that it really made a difference, and they really, really appreciated it. And he looked like he was in good spirits, and he looked just like normal, happy, energetic Bernie. But he was going home to Vermont to rest up for the next debate, and that's wonderful. So if you didn't know about it, that's the news, but he's all right. And if you didn't know about it and you haven't heard how he's doing yet, he is doing well.
Yes. It's a very common, popular procedure. Hospitals do them every single day in and day out.
$1 million a year.
Yeah.
Literally at least $1 million a year.
Right.
So
yeah, they had him in and out. And they said that it couldn't have gone any better than it went. Like, it was textbook. So
yeah.
Of course, Bernie is textbook. Of
course. Yeah. So we're not going to spend a lot of time going through all of his stuff right now, because I think we do that enough, probably. Do you think there's anything important that we should point out right now? I guess he just...
Bernie has come out on the correct side of Kashmir already.
Oh, good. That's awesome. Yes. That's good. I can't remember if I've seen that or not. I've watched a lot recently. I feel like maybe I saw it, but I don't remember what I saw all of it. So yeah, that's awesome. And he also came out with some legislation recently to abolish which debt?
Yeah, I know. I can't remember either.
I'm not just trying to be like cute. I really honestly forgot.
But you're so cute though.
Oh, thanks. I tried so hard. Anyways, yeah. So I was looking something else up and I was worried about it. Okay. So Bernie's still in the race. Oh, I don't remember what he's trying to get rid of, which debt, but he's trying to wipe out, I think it's all medical debt. I think it's that one. I was trying to go. He came up with legislation to wipe out all medical debt, which is awesome. That's wonderful.
Wow.
Huh?
Wow. That's
that be
massive. Right.
It is.
It's massive. Yeah, I did see his tweet from the hospital.
Did you hear about
that? No, I've been paying attention to him from the hospital as far as just, the man he's having surgery on his heart, and his tweet to, not I'm doing well, it was, I am fortunate to have good health care, to have a family that's here, to have great doctors, I'm very well taken care of. But think about all the people that don't have any health care. And if they had chest pains on a Tuesday night and they needed to go to the hospital and they needed all of the surgery, and, of course they're going to get it. We live in the United States of America. So a doctor is going to perform it. But now you're going to start getting, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars in bills to your house. And whether you can work or not, those bills have to be paid. And so he used that as a, look at this. I'm fortunate, but there are too many people that aren't. And that's who I'm fighting for. And it just, I'm like, I just love you. I just love you. Yeah.
Yeah. We really do love Bernie Sanders here. All right. So do you have any specific news you want to share? Because I got a couple things, but okay.
I do.
I feel like.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say we're at an hour and a half.
Yes.
So
I wanted to tell you guys about my mind works in fun ways a lot of times.
I agree.
100 miles an hour sometimes, trying to keep up and take mental notes. And I live in Florida. Everybody knows that. It's land of the bikinis everywhere. And I started thinking about bikini. And then, of course, there was marijuana involved. Okay. So, but then I'm like, bikini. Like, that's a weird word. Let me look it up. I'm obsessed with word origins. I've been telling Stacy for a couple of years now. There's this book. It's like 70 something bucks. It's this thick. It's massive. And it's word origins, but it's updated. It's all the words we use now in English and how they've broken down over the, millennia and where they've come from all over. I find it fascinating. That will keep my attention for hours. Well, bikini, there is an island, and it's called Bikini Atoll. It's spelt just like the bikinis that we wear, and then a capital Atoll. Now, Bikini Atoll, meaning coconut place, sometimes known as S. Schultz Atoll, between 1800 and 1946. So it is this kind of like I don't know if I'll be able to show you. Do you see how it looks like an outline and then a big hole in the middle? Okay. Well, that big hole in the middle, this is Bikini Atoll, the island that it's in the Marshall Islands, that we used as a nuclear test site in the 40s. Now, we didn't necessarily evacuate people. We also took a whole bunch of wildlife, farm animals, wild animals we could catch, and locked them in place and filmed what would happen to them. There were times where we were doing 1 or 2 atom bombs a week, and then we got all the way up to where we were doing an atom bomb a day for a little while. We've never cleaned up. We actually had a translator go there and ask their king, they had royalty, that it would be, you know, he would have a chance in history to have given so much good that if he offers up this island, we will move a lot of people, and he will be known in all of history as a man who sacrificed for the good of all of us so that we could, he wasn't told much, you know, just, you would be a hero. You would save not just your people, but all mankind. And you got to understand that this was a place of plenty. They never needed food. They never needed water. They never needed fish. So much fish. They were just known for fish. And we used them as guinea pigs on this island of Bikini Atoll. So much so that it's still habitable. And I had to learn what a jellyfish baby was. Women on the island were having things, they were giving birth to things that would move up and down, and that's how they knew it was breathing. But they didn't know what part was what, or the head or the butt. They just called them jellyfish babies. And that took me down a dark road. And then I watched lots of footage, black and white footage that had tears rolling down my face, because as that's happening there, here we're having parades where girls are wearing bikinis for the very first time ever. And their name is Bikini. Look at the bikini from the Bikini Island. And we're having parades where the first 2 girls in a line of girls spinning batons in bikinis is holding a big banner. And in the middle of that banner is the atom bomb going off, and girls in bikinis next to it, like from the island. So we're using the beautiful indigenous women there and their look on this banner with a bomb on it. That's where we got the word bikini. I didn't know this. And so it really fucking blew my mind. There's so much more to that story. They begged for us to help out. We ended up giving them like $150 million for the whole everything. And there's so much footage of us bringing in them, the king's family, and on the footage saying, you can hear the American person talking over the narrator, and look at the savage get off the boat. We put him in a suit so he could meet our leadership. And then at the end, they run around New York City and show him the sights. And we have the savage put his nice clothes back into and we'll let that savage get back in his comfortable, you know, whatever. No shoes, of course. Ha 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 ha. Just, And this wasn't that long ago. This was less than 100 years ago. That's how we got the word bikini. And I, living in Tampa, have a drawer full of them. I was telling Natcha before we started that, you know, it's so hot here still. I have a different bikini for every day of the week for a few weeks, maybe even 3 weeks. I could, just because, you know, it's so hot, you put one on, you wear it, you go to the swimming pool, you put it up, you get the next one. And I never even thought of where we got that, or it's really gross.
It's
really,
yeah.
It's really sad.
I didn't know that.
I didn't either. And it's still so contaminated that no one can go there. And it's a series of islands. The main island is a little America. We've got all of our missiles set up there. It's our base, huge base. There's roads that have names. There's plumbing. There's air conditioning. There's shops. It's a little America. But swimming distance is another island where a lot of the islanders had to be moved off of Bikini Island because of how bad it was. And their island doesn't have plumbing. It doesn't have anything. And babies are still being born wrong. Thyroid cancer, every woman just about is like 97.2%, 97.3% of all the women have had thyroid cancer and breast cancer. And the men, I mean, the fish, there's no fish. There hasn't been fish. This was the most bountiful land. You can't eat a coconut there because you could die. Mm-hmm. So every time I think of a bikini now, I will be more informed and a little heartbroken. And at the same time, it does make me want to raise awareness for the people there who have been fighting in the most respectful way, with signs, just saying that they want to be able to live on the island that they can see. They want to have plumbing. They want at least it to be cleaned up. They want at least the wrongs to have been made right. You know, we told them it was safe to go back, knowing it wasn't. We know this now because we have the Freedom of Information Act. Not only did we know that it wasn't safe, we knew that it was so dangerous that we wouldn't get off the boat ourselves when we took them, because we wanted to see what would happen. That's in the notes. We wanted to know how it would affect humans. We wanted to know how contaminated radioactive food would hurt humans. We know now because of what we did to the Bikini Atoll Islands in the Marshall Island area. So a little, that'll teach me for go learning.
Yeah.
What the hell, man?
That's not the first time either.
No.
That
no, it's not.
Testing, I don't know if it wasn't the first time. That's not the only time that we tested.
Nope.
On islands, and we left people there or sent people there without telling them to get out of the way.
Yeah. We've done that to American troops.
Yeah. It's if anyone would like to know more gross info on that, contact Miss Christy or I, and we'll give you that awful info. But it's very eye-opening, so it really is worth.
And it is still an apartheid there, in the definition of the word apartheid. It is different for the islanders compared to the Americans that live and stay. There are families that stay there because, you know, their husband or wife is an officer, and, you know, the documentaries that are available, it just shows that privilege that I've learned to recognize, and wish that I could shake nonsense into somebody. You know, here are these Americans who are there to serve their country, or their husband or wife is, and they're just there with their family, and they're like, we have beach property, and it's amazing. The life here is so great. They talk about the culture and the music, but those people who provide the music and the food in the evenings when you're sitting on your beach property have to get on a ferry and go home, where they make less than $2 a day. And there's no water. There's no plumbing. It's just, I would like
and no one pays for their health care or the health problems that we've caused them.
No, that's also true. We have not. There has been a few. If you look up, you know, there are a few let's see. It says as far as like wealth, each family was part of a clan, and each clan was allowed to have a certain amount of money out of that 150 million for an entire
culture.
They don't have, they don't have rights like we do when they are protesting. They're scared to protest because they won't be able to take that ferry back across to work. They might not have a job. So we live in an empire, the American empire, and we're very fortunate. We're very, very fortunate. I know. I saw Nacho's hilarious. Very fortunate to be born where we're born, but I don't understand that being super proud to be born where you were born, because you had nothing to do with that. You didn't achieve anything. Two humans mated, and then you were born where you were born. So you could be born in the Soviet Union in the 1900s. It's just not up to you. So I see camaraderie. I see brothers and sisters on Bikini Island, and I see fellow humans that have been hurt by the empire that is the largest, most wealthiest empire that has ever existed on this planet. And I don't want to be a part of it unless we're doing good. I really think that we have so much power. We could have their whole situation fixed if we really wanted to in one summer.
So final word on that, and then I'll kind of jump on to the next topic so we can get to wrapping up soon.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to say, because I just now realized, like in the last minute, that I've heard of this before, because this is the scene set for SpongeBob, Bikini Bottom.
Yes.
Nuclear.
Yes.
Yeah. And they're all mutated to be fucking weirdos. So, anyways, kind of funny, kind of also sad. That's all we heard of it, and we didn't know.
And on the cover of every magazine at the end of spring, bikini body, get your bikini body. It's such an American icon thing, and I never thought of where's that come from. And it's education is so important. I mean, yes, in the grand scheme of my life, learning this amount of information about a bikini isn't going to change the way I live my life, but it put a whole bunch of new information in my head that makes me more conscious about, the empire that I am a part of, and maybe looking into what taxes go there. And I have a lot of homework to do about it. It really bothered me, being someone who loves and can live in bikinis and still will. It hasn't changed that. It's just how we celebrated it with a bikini parade down, Main Street.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Moving on. So, wow, I didn't
expect that. Debbie Downer.
God, jeez. All right. Thank you for that nugget of information, though. New information is always fun.
Ish.
Something to learn. Always learnable. Okay. So I have two very short stories for you.
Okay.
One, I was a little bit disgusted this morning after I watched, but not because I watched, but after I watched. Not because I watched Topic Thunder's interview with Alex O'Connor.
Okay.
Fucking dope. She had Cosmic Skeptic on her channel, and she's 3 subscribers away from 300 still. So go fix that. So yeah, there's that. But after that, I saw on like CBS News and just like a few other, they had a clip of AOC and some lady coming up addressing her concerns.
Babies? Are you talking about
Yes,
eating babies?
baby.
Okay, this is a
We
good
only
story.
have a few months left, and we're not doing anything to fix the problem fast enough. And someone said that eating dead bodies isn't going to do it quick enough. So I think your next campaign slogan should be, we, like, she takes off a shirt, and I didn't get to read what it says, but she just starts talking about, we need to eat the babies.
It said eat more babies.
Yeah, we need to eat more babies. We need to eat all the babies. And I'm like, okay, honestly, I thought she was like mentally,
Yeah, I did
yeah.
too. And I think AOC did too. That you could
And I,
tell the way she
she,
handled it. She wanted to be very careful.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, she was very careful, and like I
Because
was
she's not
stuck in
stable.
this window of like, dude, you need to call her out, dude,
Right.
be aggressive, dude, say don't eat babies,
Right.
but she didn't. And Tucker Carlson, or Carl Tuckerson, which one is it? I don't know.
Fuckerson.
Fuckerson, just Fuckerson.
Yeah.
Said that,
Fuckerson.
yeah, he said, you would think that that would be the first thing out of her mouth, but she didn't, and I think that's really telling.
Because we
Because,
definitely eat babies.
well, it's not that we definitely do, but it's definitely that we're going to have to advocate for it.
Right.
Because we need
Yeah.
to, I mean, look, we really need to replace the cheeseburgers with something anyways. Am I right?
I'm just
I'm
saying.
right. I'm just saying. Um, so the LaRouche pack,
Yes.
it's just a pack of trolls,
Yep.
sent this woman to go out and try to smear Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
They're professional trolls. This is what
They
they
are
do.
professional trolls.
Yes, this is
Yes.
what they do.
And honestly, I'm still not convinced that this lady isn't mentally ill, because
Yeah.
who the fuck does that? And if you listen to her talk, maybe she may have been. So, I mean,
Yeah, but you got to understand this group. This group is known for doing things like this and recording only what they need to record and using that as propaganda. They are the same type of people who did that whole Planned Parenthood with they're using baby parts. Remember that crazy shit? And they were able to have people sit down and answer questions. And because they did shit like that and caught people off, like, they use it as propaganda, as they were so caught off guard that we knew their secret, and unfortunately, people are uneducated.
yeah, for real.
They get that name damage.
Yeah. And it hasn't really been talked about in any of the news things that I have seen yet, that like maybe she is still mentally like handicapped or something. But I wouldn't put it past a group like this
to use someone who was
of people like that.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
So that's extra disgusting, because she really didn't sound mentally stable. And maybe
she was
just
talking about
acting that
eating
way.
babies in
She
real
was talking
life.
about eating babies. And someone could act like that to also make the notion that her supporters are just crazy people.
Well, that's the
Or
narrative.
they could have just sent someone crazy because they're easy to manipulate like that to say something awful. It really could have worked either way, but either way, it's disgusting, right?
That's the narrative, though. They play that clip and then they say, "Yep, see, just another one of this. This is the base of AOC's fans. This is a typical AOC fan. This is how crazy they are."
Yes.
And then people believe it and never look a day or a minute into any research. They just take it as the gospel. And now AOC wants to take your hamburgers away from you, and she wants to use babies instead.
Yeah. But honestly, as long as I get meat, on my sandwich.
Have you seen baby's rolls right here? Are you kidding me? They're so cute.
It's true. It's true.
I love
And I
them.
mean, we're atheists, so obviously,
I mean,
like babies, anyways. We don't need to be progressive for that. We just,
full moon's coming.
yeah. And I got a lot of extra hot wing sauce, so.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, anyways.
I like to put my baby inside of a pineapple and then cook it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm in the tropics.
The coconut and shake it up.
Yeah.
That give me bad feels just saying that much. I do not advocate for shaking babies.
No.
In any context.
Or eating them in real life.
I mean, I kind of okay. I mean, we're gonna get technical about it. Okay. So last bit here. This is pretty damn important.
Okay.
I'm kind of excited because I think you might not know about this yet.
Uh-oh.
I'm excited. I'm excited because I haven't heard anyone else do this yet. Medicare? Trump Medicare? Have you heard about it yet?
No.
Yay! I win!
Trumpacare?
Breaking news, guys. Are you guys ready? I grabbed my phone, but this is what I'm using.
Okay.
I saw on my phone, and I think it was CNN sent me an email. Trump signs executive order to expand Medicare. Right?
Everywhere?
What?
Everywhere? Like to all the red states who said, no, we don't want to help our people. To those people too?
Don't get excited. Don't get excited. Because even CNN can't be trusted. Looking it up during the show.
Right.
In a speech delivered to the villages in Florida, before the president signed an executive order to expand Medicare Advantage.
I live in Florida.
Yeah. So, as I said, Medicare Advantage, which we were just talking about.
Yes.
Of course, he expanded the private sector.
Yes.
Which
Medicare takes money and funding from the public sector, from the actual social program.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. He said, I think part of the plan is supposed to save like $800 billion, but not necessarily to the beneficiaries. And yeah, this is his direct response to Warren and Sanders, mostly Sanders, trying to expand Medicare because he wants to have better health care than the Democrats. For some people, this is basically his tax cut.
He wants it exactly the same, but different.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly, but different.
Look, this Medicare plan is gonna make so many people much more rich.
Ding, 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 ding.
And that's what we want. And it's gonna be very profitable. Very, very profitable.
Oh, I do. California has voted to ban. I know we've talked about this, but it's happening. They're banning private. There will be no more for-profit prisons in the state of California. And what California do, the rest of the country follows, even if it takes a decade or two.
Yeah, yeah. And they're also fighting back on that. On like Trump suing the state of California for pushing back against the
yes.
So that's going to be an ongoing story that I really hope that we can keep up on. So more to come on that.
Yeah, he's just trying to punish them because their citizens voted one way and they said, okay, well, let's do what they want. And he said, whoa, Nelly, now you have to go to timeout. So yeah, he doesn't like that. He likes the states. I mean, think about think about the greediness of a governor, a senator, a leader of a state who has these millions of citizens of their state, their fellow Americans that they're responsible for. And the federal government says, hey, we want to give you $212 billion every single year extra to help expand Medicaid so that every single citizen in your state could have the option if they needed it and it would be there. And those fucking leaders said, no. We got to vote them out. We got to vote them out.
Yeah, we do. We do. Look, none of these progressive ideas are ever going to get passed. Look, honestly, over my dad, Mitch McConnell.
Over my tiny, only my
tiny. Yeah. Okay. That's all I have for you guys tonight. Christy, do you have anything else to?
I'll save
not
it
incredibly
for
fucking
next
depressing.
week. Yeah, I have next week it's San Francisco's homelessness crisis and what the mainstream media has wrong about it and what I got right. But I'll do it. Yes.
I saw some of that today too.
I'll give you a hint. Reagan.
Oh, good old Reagan.
1984.
And also Kashmir. Well.
And Kashmir. Yes.
Yeah. And I love that.
And I'm still working on my part 2 to Epstein. I probably have another couple nights to. I have all the information. I have all my notes. I just need to put it together. That one's a hard one.
I bet. We might have to record that one separately and just give it its own whole thing and have a different premiere.
And I'm trying to get. I've messaged Whitney Webb, the author of the one who investigated the entire story back from the 60s and 70s with the Mossad and the CIA. Messaged her. She was on Ryan from The Last American Vagabond. She was on his channel.
Really?
So I know she's, she lives in Chile. She wasn't an American. She's dual citizenship, but she said she has no plans on coming back to this asshole country anytime soon.
That's really funny.
Yeah, I thought that was funny too.
Alrighty. Well, that all sounds good, and I'm excited for next week. Thank you, everyone, for being here for this almost full 2-hour show.
Yes.
And
I'm glad I could lift your spirits.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Yeah, you nailed it. You nailed it.
Right in the bikini.
Yeah. I think the jellyfish babies got me.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. There. And I brought it back to make everyone depressed again. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay
America, fuck yeah. Stay humanist, for God's sake.
Yeah.